Hi there, Steve Kaufman here. Today I'm going to talk about culture and language learning. Again, if you enjoy these discussions, videos, please subscribe to my channel. The subject, and before I get started, let me say that today I've gone 6 weeks on Ukrainian and today I'm switching to Polish. And you know what, the task that I put in front of me is to work on 4 Slavic languages for the first 4 or 5 months of the year to see to what extent it helps me or it creates interference and stuff like that. And certainly going from Ukrainian to Polish, there's a lot of similar vocabulary. So that's just to update you. Now, culture and language learning. It's a subject that comes up all the time. Obviously, to effectively learn another language, we have to imitate some aspects of the cultural behavior, the behavior patterns of another culture. So, and I've always said that if we want to speak French well or Chinese well or whatever other language, we have to start thinking that we are them and we have to want to be part of them. We want to penetrate that world. So inevitably we want to some extent identify with that culture. And you know, even when I was learning Chinese, I think the counterpart of that is that so much of what we find in another culture, in fact, is universal. So therefore, it's readily accessible to us. In the book that I wrote, I don't have a copy here, about language learning. On the cover of the book, I had this tree which represented Zhuangzi's tree, the parable of the crooked tree. Zhuangzi, Chinese Taoist philosopher, also has a very famous parable where he says that he dreamt that he was a butterfly, and when he woke up he didn't know if he was a butterfly dreaming that he was Zhuangzi, or if that was Zhuangzi dreaming that he was a butterfly. And that's the kind of call it cultural weightlessness that we have to achieve in learning another language. So it's not just a matter of being interested in the culture of the language we're learning. We also have to suppress the interference from our own culture. I remember when I started learning Chinese, for example, I had another Canadian diplomat studying with me, and when he found out that in Chinese to say, are you going, ni qu bu qu, that the Chinese actually say you go not go. It's not tremendously cultural, but that's how the language is structured. And his immediate reaction to that was, is that ever stupid? In other words, he brought that back to his own language, his own culture. So that's different from my language, different from my culture, therefore it's stupid. In fact, you have to just allow yourself to flow into that culture. Now, on the issue of culture, I think a lot of things in these other cultures are universal in their appeal. Otherwise, we wouldn't be interested in Korean drama, Russian novels, French poetry, or whatever it might be. And all the great works of literature wouldn't be translated into 50 languages. These things all have universal appeal. We're all humans. They're all aspects of, call it, sort of human creativity. So they are tremendously accessible. But there are certain specific, call them idiosyncrasies of certain languages, cultures, groups. And not all of these are going to appeal to us. And I sometimes think people who write textbooks spend too much time on sort of national festivals and very sort of cultural idiosyncrasies that they're very proud of, but may not be of great interest to the learner. I find that I'm usually much more interested in how people interact around the dinner table, in the family, at their place of work. In other words, the living culture of those people, not the harvest festival in Korea, for example, or flying carps in Japan, or whatever it might be that these writers of textbooks always want to present to us. So I think culture, we have to pick those things that we like, that we find interesting. Maybe there should be more freedom for people to choose those aspects of the culture. If you're reading a history book, if you're reading a novel, if you're following Korean drama, you're interacting with the culture, and it should be more up to the student to seek out those things that are interesting. And for that matter, the same with people. I often get the comment, well, I was in Paris and the French were so surly and impolite and stuff. They're not all surly and impolite, but you don't have to like them all. You just have to like some. You have to find some friends so that you can imagine yourself one of them, want to be one of them, integrate into their sphere, even if it's only like Zhuangzi imagining himself a butterfly. So I think this issue of culture in language learning, it kind of goes both ways. We need to want to project ourselves into that culture, but we also need to have this sense of cultural weightlessness. We need to leave our culture, aside, take off that coat and try and put on this other coat. So there you have it. There's a little discussion on the issue of culture and language learning, and I look forward to hearing your comments. Bye for now.